All right, well, we apologize if you can hear the subwoofers in the background. There's a full-on rave going on below where Fierce Fighting Championship 34 just took place, but still got to get the immediate reaction out no matter how tired or exhausted we might be. Zach, a successful night here. I think before anything, a lot of people are probably going to be talking about this. Your thoughts on the venue and just what the night felt like for you, for the crowd, for the people, the commission, everybody.
I mean, from everybody that I talked to, obviously there's things that we can improve on and that we will improve on. December 13th, we've already have a list of adjustments we'll make that'll just make it better. But, man, I will say this. The venue did not disappoint. Tickets will be on sale Monday at 10 a.m. for December 13th. Joel Haro versus Hunter Azure for the pro bantamweight title. Camp Mafaleo versus Ruben Roundstone in that co-main event. And not one, not two, not three, but 4 AMI title fights on the card. It's going to light this place up.
Gonna be a special one. This card was absolutely fantastic, and it started off with Katie Phillips and Lisa Holtz. A close one that went to the scorecards, but Katie Phillips able to come away with her first win.
She did a lot of really good things. I thought Lisa Holtz was really tough and really game and showed a lot of improvement and a lot of growth from her previous fights too. But you could tell you could tell that she had the experience advantage. I felt like in some situations, but Katie able to do enough to get her hand raised. Really enjoyed that night, and I thought I thought one of the themes of the night was a lot of fighters that showed a lot of heart, and I felt like that fight kind of set the tone for the night.
How about Austin Dew, Marco Ramirez? Austin Dew, I've actually trained with him in the past, got the chance to say hi to him during the intermission. He was in great spirits. As for Marco Ramirez, 6 days notice, no problem for him coming away with the victory.
Wow, and I thought Austin looked really good early. I mean, his movement was fantastic, and his timing on his shots was good, and good for Marco Ramirez. Really excited to see him against a full camp against one of the most athletic debut prospects that I think One Hit has had in a while, and Aspen Kobayashi. So we're going to see Marco Ramirez and Aspen fight December 13th. That fight's already under contract. I'm very excited for that.
How wild is that to have a 4-week turnaround on a 6-day notice fight to start?
5
weeks.
5.
Yeah.
It's cool, but no, it's pretty sick.
Unbelievable. Hunter Birdsley, Jerry Villasenor. My goodness, Zach. This was one of two. Noah Hamilton followed him, but really just set the tone for the rest of the night and really created a high standard for what the fans were going to be expecting.
I trained with Jerry a little bit, see him in the room. He's a tough kid, and for him to, get hurt the way that he did by Hunter just speaks to the power that Hunter has. And he broke his foot or his toe, unfortunately, in the fight. And he said, if not, get me on in December if my foot wasn't broken. And I'm like, I'd kind of be tempted to. I mean, he erupted this place, and he did let me know that if it wasn't for his little brother's Little League football game, he would have had a much, much bigger crowd presence here. So we'll have to get him booked during non-football season. The former defensive end from Snow College comes in and gets a big win in his debut fight. I think Jerry is going to be a guy that is going to grow a lot from this experience as well.
Noah Hamilton gets the job done versus Julian Gomez. Very similar to his teammate Hunter Birdsley. Just brings the fight directly to Julian Gomez and doesn't let him breathe.
Doesn't let him breathe. Like Noah, came forward through with bad intentions, and just Julian could not get going in that fight.
And what's so wild about that too is that's exactly how he fought in the first fight. Like to a T, that's how Noah fought in the first fight.
He is a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
I already have a pretty good idea of who I would like to see him fight next, and he's a beast and a force to be reckoned with at featherweight.
One of the most respectable and incredible post-fight interviews we've ever heard as well at Fierce Fighting Championship for Noah Hamilton. Got the chance to talk to him a little bit as well at intermission. Cannot wait to see what the future holds for him. Chris Fowo, Daniel Lavulo, kind of an anticlimactic, odd ending, but it did seem like Tyler Tomlinson officiated that fight the best way he possibly could.
Yeah, I think it would. Considering the injury to Daniel's eye to a perfectly placed punch, legal punch. That's important to say that Chris threw. Chris looked like he didn't miss a beat.
Yeah,
he's been off for over a year now, and his footwork was good, his range was good, his power was good. I thought Daniel, especially when he got the takedown, really where he wanted to be, was going to be able to find some success there, and he did. But man, it's like now Chris is 3-1 and back, and it's like he's kind of inserted himself into a title picture here. Yeah. Very interesting to see. Heavyweights need to watch out for Chris Fowo. He's no joke, and to be able to come off of a layoff like that, I was super impressed with the way he looks, and I hope Daniel's eye has a good recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope he can recover from that, because that did look pretty bad. And was it the seam of the glove that just must have hit?
Probably. And he's going to the ER tonight, and we'll get it checked out and taken care of.
And one quick note on Chris Fowo as well. We saw him fall to a decision in his debut because he spent a lot of time on his back. This time, able to kind of change the tide a bit and really defend that a lot better versus Daniel, who was the bigger body in there tonight. All right, Nate Ayers, Tyson Royer, pins and needles that entire fight, Zach. It was wild back and forth.
I mean, Nate, they asked, it's time for Nate to have a tough fight. And Tyson gave him everything he can handle and more. I don't know about you. I had to step out and take care of something as the judges' scorecards were read, but I was not sure who was going to win that fight.
It was close.
I thought it was really close. Tyson, obviously very competitive. Nate Ayers, he is an athletic specimen. He is a great athlete, very well rounded, and his first fight since getting his blue belt in jiu-jitsu, I believe. Is that right? Or did he second now?
It wasn't on my board. I actually can't remember off the top of my head.
But he looked very good everywhere. I think Tyson, he carries himself in a way with a swagger that the energy is infectious, and I think he's one of those guys that just has that switch that this will make him more competitive and make him better. But the moment never seems too big for him. Even when Nate hit him hard and dropped him, his composure from
just
the
shot right back up.
He's unbelievable, and I can't say enough good things about the height that I think that Tyson can still go, but Nate, like Noah Hamilton, inserting themselves very quickly into maybe 1-2 fights away for fighting for a belt.
Walker Pelto, 30-24s across the entire judges' scorecards. And I do have a quick statistic for that. First time ever in Fierce Fighting Championship history, there have been 3 30-24s for any fighter. Walker Pelto does that, going up essentially 20 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing with Walker. He has back-to-back decisions, right? And I know that there's people that have been critical of that. One decision as a 1-0 guy fighting a 2-0 guy on essentially 6 days' notice in Bear Lake, and then fighting another guy who finds out he's not going to make the 185 limit. They move to a 190 catch weight, and then his opponent steps on the scale at 204. I do not believe 99% of the fighters that I've dealt with take that fight.
No. All love to David Kim. We saw it a couple months ago. And again, I don't
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. And David, if you're listening to this, I love you.
And this is the truth. Walker was told at weigh-ins, you do not have to take this fight tomorrow night, and you will still get your title shot against Jason Ergel December 13th. And he goes, it would be pretty freaking cool to go up 20 pounds almost and beat the guy before I get that title shot. And I said it would be pretty cool. And we got it, and he dominated.
Dietrich Jessup, Michael Eastwood. We talked about it a little bit on the broadcast. There was a lot of wondering, is Michael Eastwood going to look good enough and look like the Michael Eastwood of old? Because versus Nasir Davis, he stood and traded with him. Shot a couple of times, but nonetheless, Michael Eastwood looked like the guy who fought Mason Sorensen back in July of 2023. Absolutely dominant.
his grappling and his wrestling and his pressure are very good. Dietrich was very scrappy and was able to retain his guard and do some really good things. His inability to get the fight back onto the feet and standing where I think where he wanted. It was interesting because I thought Michael's striking against Nasir Davis, as long as it lasted,
It was great.
it was really good. And I actually was wondering if we were going to see a little bit more of that. But they got to the grappling pretty quick. And Dietrich is still really young. He's really crafty. And he's literally fought all the best flyweights.
Yep. Yeah.
So, for a guy that's on a couple fight skid now against in a title fight, a number one contender type fight, fighting the best guys, really bright future for him. Michael Eastwood, I thought to come out and dominate the way he did, statement win.
No, and we talked about it too on the broadcast. You go from potentially back-to-back losses or a title shot. It's kind of just a win-lose situation where it's like highest of highs, lowest of lows with the outcome. But congratulations to Michael Eastwood on that one. Logan Taylor, Talon Carvalo. Holy smoke, Zach. We got another Fight of the Year contender candidate. Can these fights and these shows be any better? 2024 has been unbelievable to the Fierce Fighting Championship fandom.
I thought that fight lived up to everything that we hoped and thought that it could be. Those two guys, I think they very clearly established themselves as the two best 55ers in the state. The other person that could try to insert himself into that argument is the Stillfist 155 champ, Darian Orvin, who has already messaged me and asked for that fight. So we're just going to kind of let the dust settle a little bit and see if Logan can really lay claim to being the best amateur lightweight in the state. Talon is, in my opinion, though, is still right there. I mean, you had a round that they both almost finish each other, and then they get a split decision. I mean, it was razor thin. I really didn't know who won. 48-47. Either way, I could be talked into. Great fight. Logan is a dog, but Talon's a dog too. People talk about the guy that wins and perseveres, and that's great, and they should. He is the champion. He's the best 150. Cut a great promo at the end. Said nobody's taking this belt, staying with me until I decide to give it up and go pro. You could see visibly how tired Talon got with that adrenaline dump and that energy. I think the environment, everybody right on top of you in this incredible venue. And for whatever reason, he felt that adrenaline dump. He had opportunities that he could have gotten out of there. And he just didn't. So we have a new 55-pound champ. And I would not be surprised if we don't see them run it back for that title one more time in their AME career as well.
Can I ask you about the 50-45 scorecard, or do you care not?
That's crazy to me. I mean, that's crazy. I think Talon won 1 and 2. I thought 3 could go either way, and I thought Logan won 4 and 5. That's personally how I saw it.
And that's how I think the masses saw it as well. And so we talked about it a lot on the broadcast. In Zero World, and all love to both guys, but Zero World, does either fighter come away with winning every single round in that fight? So that all being said, congratulations to Logan Taylor. What a special performance by him. Speaking of special performances, Chris Anderson, pretty flat to start, but then pulls out a victory in which it seemed like Donnie Wegner was just going to come away with a slow decision win. Chris Anderson flips the script on him. Yeah,
good for Chris. Gets the first round or the second round finish. There's just not a ton for me for that fight. I always think it's impressive when the guy that's clearly losing the whole time can turn it around.
That's kind of
MMA is the only sport that can happen, right? I mean, it was the equivalent of. Chris was getting blanked, right? I mean, he was staying safe, not doing a lot, but Donnie was controlling the fight and was in complete control till he wasn't, and then it was over pretty quick. So good for Chris against a guy that has a lot more pro experience than him to pull off the win and start his pro career 1-0. That's always a good feeling.
Anthony Castro finishes Nino Hanal in what was just a pins and needles bout, Zach, where you just didn't know what was going to happen, but Anthony Castro just always seemed a slight step ahead, and comes away with another massive knockout victory.
I'm a giant fan of Nino's.
I am too.
I'm a giant fan of his fighting style. Dude, I said it to you at weigh-ins. He's the coolest dude I've ever met in my life. I really do. He's just so cool. And I love watching him fight too. We fought on the same card together. And I remember, I consider myself a hobbyist at this. And dude, I think he is a stone cold killer. He's very talented. He's been around for a while. Nobody wants to fight Anthony Castro in the region. Nobody.
Goodness.
And when I offered it to Nino and Castro was trying to get on this card, and I was trying to make sense of people I felt could give Anthony Castro a competitive fight and could possibly beat him. That's what we build these cards for, is competitive fights to see who we could win, not easy fights. And Nino goes, yeah, that looks like a good time. That was the response I got, because he's the coolest guy ever. He's just calm, cool, and collected. And dude, he was in relatively good spirits after the fight too.
That's good.
And he was fine. And relatively. And I told him, you got my number, dude. I hope to see Nino back in 2025, back in the Fierce Cage, because I am a huge fan of his. And Anthony Castro is a special prospect. And there are a couple fighters in Utah that I just feel like he is on a collision course with. That's just might not happen next or right now, but will eventually. And oh my gosh, I cannot wait for those matchups.
Could be very, very special. Christian Edwards, Jerome Hasch, co-main event. Christian Edwards, the Bellator vet, comes in from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and gets the job done, TKOing Jerome.
Oh. Yeah, I thought Christian did a fantastic job at just negating Jerome's power, using his grappling and just taking control, very similar to Jerome's last fight down in Vegas. Jerome has unbelievable power, and when he lands, he can shut anybody's lights off. And you're just seeing these vets that fight at these high levels just kind of negate that. And Christian was able to come in and execute and get a win. Not sure where Jerome goes from here, to be honest. I want to see that guy win because I'm a fan of his too, and I love watching him fight, and he's given us so many incredible moments. But Christian Edwards came in and made a statement, talked about heavyweight, 205, whatever. We got some fun matchups for him. I want to be surprised if we see Christian Edwards back in the Fierce Cage in 2025.
A couple of names have already been populating in the conversations I've had in just about the hour since the show concluded. Cole Schaefer, John Poppy. John Poppy spoils the Salt Lake party here. Fighter out of Las Vegas, and is headed home with another W.
Yeah, it was impressive. Cole was on a tear, a 3-fight winning streak again, and he was having success early in the fight, and John came in, stayed composed. Usually when wrestlers, not only did he shoot, he got stuffed bad, and it was like, oh, well, if he can't get his wrestling going, what's that going to look like? Well, he's able to find the button and rock Cole, and just, even though Cole recovered, it just didn't seem like he could fully recover all the way. And sometimes with Cole, when I watch him fight, I just think he's so freaking tough that he is. He's so tough with it, and he grinds to the end. Get on a fight, win 3, you lose 1. Cole could rattle off 3 more. I fully believe John Poppy makes the call for Mike Jones, and I think there's a very good chance that early 2025 we will see John Poppy versus Mike Jones here at the Masonic Temple for the 185 title.
Did you see Mike Jones?
I did.
What did he say?
They had a conference. They had a face-to-face and shook hands after, right outside the cage, and I believe that is the fight that is going to happen next for Mike Jones and John Poppy.
Mike Jones's mustache is ridiculous. Did you see that thing?
Hey, Mike, your mustache sucks.
You guys are really mean to each other.
You know what? He started it. He's mean to me.
All right. That all being said, what a night. Fierce Fighting Championship 34 has been. Masonic Temple seems like a new mainstay for the show. Cannot wait for it. Zach, I think we're both pretty much on the brink of falling asleep as we're having this conversation. So we're going to close this up, and we are right back to it.
I love you, Mike Jones.
We're right back to it in 8 days. Cannot wait for it, Zach. Thank you so much.